For daily Ask Reddit, for those of you who have been to prison/jail, what is it like? 50 days in Macomb County Jail, Mount Clemens, Michigan. Cold. Boring. Smells like bleach and feet. The worst part was hearing a guy screaming for the deputies because his chest hurt. They ignored him. He had a heart attack and died a few feet from me. I see that people complain about boredom during quarantine, but I can't even imagine the amount of boredom in jail. How old was the guy who got a heart attack? That's horrible. In prison in Colorado, I was roomed with a guy who killed his wife and her lover and split his own throat, yet he was a really nice person to me. There are gangs of every variety, and it was hard. I was roomed with a guy who kidnapped and brutally raped his 9-year-old niece along with his brother, who was only serving time for accessory in a different prison, chained her underneath the sink in his trailer's kitchen, and left her to die there. She was discovered 3 days later after a huge search. Oddly enough, the medical examiner's office I worked for performed the death investigation for that little girl, so I saw all the crime scene photos. I obviously didn't tell him that. I only knew this information because of my work, but when he said his victim's name out loud in an "I'm innocent" speech, I connected the dots. Huge psychopath, but wasn't violent and was actually kind of conversational at times. This was only a medium security prison too. It's not quite traditional jail and doesn't last quite as long, but I found it far worse. I was arrested back in the mid-80s in my youth, living in the former Soviet Union in Eastern Europe, and served 8 hours in the farm pit. Basically just a concrete pit at a factory farm that's empty when you go in, but then they shovel in pig shit as the pigs produce it. I thought I was getting off light with a 1-day punishment, but honestly it's been almost 35 years, and I'm still a wee bit traumatized from it, and still feel some anxiety when I see a pig farm, even in a movie. I never knew anything could smell or feel that bad. Been in a number of US jails. Food quality varies, but generally you'll be hungry from dinner, 6 p.m., till breakfast, 6 a.m. Usually you can get some commissary items by trading desserts or playing poker if you're good at it. Most of my time is spent sleeping and reading books. Some people prefer TV and you often don't get to choose what's on. I've generally been in minimum security so haven't seen many fights, but I've been on cell blocks where someone's freaking out for over an hour, and this inevitably happens around midnight when you're trying to sleep. Mostly I've learned to keep my head down and do as the officers say. The beds suck, the food sucks, and you're inside at least 23 hours a day. 3/10 would not recommend. I've been as a lawyer a couple of times, and that is good enough for me. I'm fairly claustrophobic, so as an attorney visiting clients, you walk through one door, they shut it, and lock it behind you, and a few seconds later unlock the next door you have to walk through. That moment locked between those two doors is awfully creepy for me. Can't imagine being in that for more than a couple hours. Also, it blows my mind that they genuinely don't feed you enough to survive in many jails/prisons. Everyone has to buy from the commissary to subsidize their nutrition. I'll just tell one story. I went in thinking I would be out in no time. I was in a cell block with about 12 other guys. There was a common area and individual cells. I was really shy about pooping in front of others, so I held it for like 2 days. On the second or third day I couldn't hold it, so I waited until I thought everyone else was distracted in the common, went quietly to my cell, shut the door as much as I could without latching it, and sat down. About 5 seconds later the door comes blowing open, and in walk every single person in my cell block. They all formed a semicircle around me, arms folded, demanding I finish my shit while they watch. So there I sat, pooping, in front of 12 strangers. It was horrible, but I have literally no poop shyness anymore. So silver lining, I guess. 24 days in county in Florida. I read 27 books while I was there. I didn't get my first book till my 3rd day. It's an indescribable level of boredom. I only stopped reading when I could no longer find a comfortable position for myself. I also wrote about 40 pages of notes/diary entries, which is something I had never done before. Try to sleep as much as possible, cause it's not pleasant to be awake in a room filled with cots and a variety of random strangers, some of whom are cool, while others are scary. There's a hierarchy, so if you're lucky you will locate and secure a buddy near a cot who offers to show you the ropes and lets you use her shampoo and wants to play cards. Do not tell the intake nurse the truth if she asks you if you have ever been suicidal, cause I was long ago, and since I answered honestly I was sent to solitary confinement where I had to be buck naked with all lights on 24 hours a day and no blankets, only paper towel thing and camera on you with creepy perverted guard watching you all night long.